Press that button and that button, and we are here. We are here. Mr. Pickles, don't mention pizza when Longshanks is around. He had a very nasty encounter with pizza with one of his previous characters. Nice for you to be here with us. So hi everyone, and welcome to this week's Shadowrun in the heat that is in the UK at the moment. So if we gently perspire throughout, then you know why. Then we've had a bit of rain. Somebody said it's been 8 weeks since it rained. I must admit, a lot of the grass is not actually green here. It's just like straw colour. Big is home. He's just putting on the PC now. So it's meant to say Big is on his way, but it doesn't count. There's too many characters in that, so it couldn't.
Big is on his rocking horse.
Yeah, well, I'll just turn you guys up a bit because you're a bit quiet in my thing then. So
it's like you for me. You're quiet for me.
No, it's because the theme music is a lot louder, and so I turned it down for that. But I can hear you all now. It's just that I turned the theme music down for some unknown reason. The sound levels are slightly different. Yeah. So anyway, welcome to this week. The Shadowrunners are currently completing a job that has been given to them, which is basically a search and rescue mission, and they have been asked to go down some tunnels to find a previous expedition of a group of people who haven't returned. They're actually doing it for Wuxing, the people who have hired them, they think, and they've headed down, and they encountered various obstacles or barriers last week. They got attacked by a giant alligator, which was a nice one. Right, I'm going to come out of the chat, out of my meeting, because Big Beastie's here. Leave meeting. Yeah. And then we'll make sure that Mr. Big Beastie comes on. Longshanks is currently split between two windows. You can, that's on one side. Yeah, that looks really weird, actually. It actually looks like you're going from one window to the other window. So they went down. They encountered some alligators. Well, one alligator actually, and then they carried on, and they came across some weird room, weird room. Well done, Big Beastie. You are in the right place and everything. And they encountered a strange room, that had almost like ritualistic items in it. They then descended rather efficiently for some people down a shaft to a lower level, and they did this with some climbing equipment that the company had given to them. Billy Bob did the honourable thing and lowered everybody down, although I think he actually dropped Buddy down, who went crash down on the floor. Bodie, not
him
Buddy.
as well.
Oh no, sorry, Buddy is from. It's because I've got Longshanks, not Longshanks, Mr. Pickles in the chat. That's what's reminded me. Yeah, Bodie, and then they carried on, and they met a survivor. They found a live one that was being eaten or poisoned by a young naga, a snake-like beast, which they dispatched quite effectively. And then they came to a gap in the tunnel, and it actually looked like, I'm just going to pop you on to it if I can get you there. I think this is what it looked like, and if you remember, there was a gap, and then you could drop down further, and the dropping down it led to the underground, an old subway, and they found an a disused railway cart, a carriage, and that has been turned perpendicular to the tube line. And in it was somebody who seemed to be quite friendly, called Eliza. And Eliza got them to do a job in exchange for information, I think it was. Was that right, guys?
Yeah, it was, yes.
Yeah. So, and they were about to head off and deal with this job that Eliza had given them. So that's where we are at the adventure. So it now seems, now that everyone's here, it's an appropriate time to allow the players to introduce who they are and who they will be playing tonight. And as always, we go down there to Mr. Chuggerwugger.
Hi guys, I'm Chuggerwugger. Tonight I am playing Stanley Lovely, the oldest member of the group, short, balding, receding hair, portly. He goes by the name of Studley on the streets, and he fulfills the role of the combat mage and also the role of the face. So any interaction with magic or the astral plane or spirits, and also interaction with people in general is his forte. When he's not running, he lives at home with his mom, where he tends to her every need. And I shall pass on to Longshanks EPG.
Hi guys, I'm Longshanks EPG. Tonight I'm playing the character Bodhi. He is the matrix or internet or hacking guru of the group, so that's his domain. He runs around. He's always got his deck in his backpack, and he can get out and start doing bits and pieces on the matrix. He tends to go in through AR or is it augmented reality? Is that what it stands for?
AR, yeah.
Yeah, he tends to do AR more often than not, but he can do VR, which is virtual reality. So that's when he takes the cord out of his back of his head, sticks it in the matrix, and he goes bleh, and his mind will disappear off into the matrix to do whatever it is he needs to do. He can also do a little bit of shooting if need be as well. That's about it, and I'll pass you over to Big Beastie.
I am Big Beastie, and I play the character Billy Bob. He is the tank of the group. He's a big lovable orc, and so he brings combat skills and a big knife to the party, which he loves to use
which he hides inside his forearm.
Yeah,
yeah, it's cybernetically enhanced. So, thank you for that. So, just to remind you, Eliza made you tea, I think, and encouraged you to eat some pickled rat, I think it was. Studley did a sensing test on her, and you discovered that she was actually a shaman, I think. I think that's what you found out. And in exchange for some information about what's actually in the tunnels, you have agreed, I think last week, to rid her of a spirit that has been causing her some issues. I think that's the best way to describe it. So that's where we will start off today. Is there anything that anybody... we'll start with that conversation, therefore, when Eliza has just asked you to rid her of a spirit. And obviously you have agreed, and she turns around to you all and she says to you all, "Oh, that's excellent. I am so pleased that you are going to do that for me."
You say that the spirit has been annoying you at certain times. I believe your words were prodding.
Yes, it does a fair bit of prodding. It does.
can you remember? I know it's probably difficult, but can you remember exactly what you were doing when the spirit prodded you?
Well, I am actually, if you are not fully aware, quite proficient in the shamanic rituals and traditions here. And every time I seem to want to leave my body and, go for an astral walk, it tends to find me and prod me, as if it's saying, get back to your body. Sometimes it doesn't bother me, but sometimes it's, it's rather annoying. And so I would prefer it if I was rid of it.
Have you ever seen the spirit in manifested form?
No. All I know is that it lives further down the tunnel.
Right. Okay.
In its own little house or cave or some kind of habitat, and it lives there. And I don't go down there. I do not possess the powers of formidable ritual summoning and banishing. I'm more of a nice, clean and healthy sort of like shaman.
So did the prodding take place when you were heading down towards its habitat, or just in general?
Oh, just in general.
Oh, right.
Would you like some more pickled rat?
No, thank you. As mentioned previously, I am of a vegetarian nature.
Oh.
But I'm sure my colleagues would like some.
And she holds out the plate to both Bodhi and Billy Bob and say, pickled rat? Do you want to know? I've saved the tail. It's normally my favourite bit, but if any of you would like it instead, then I'm more than happy to allow you to have it. Just suck it up like a bit of spaghetti.
Billy Bob's going to turn around and say, I'm full, thank you.
Well, full already. Haven't eaten anything. How strange.
Bodhi will take a look at it, not the tail, but one of the other pieces, and go, when in Rome, and he will take a bite of not the tail, but another piece of the pickled rat.
She takes the tail and sort of like sucks it in like spaghetti, and as the little end bit goes in, it sort of goes like that around her mouth. Yeah, I mean, it like all things, like all animals, you think it just probably tastes of chicken. It's very bitter, very sour. There seems to be a lot of acidic taste in there and nothing else. You're trying to decide what's being used to actually pickle it in.
I know that.
And you can't quite place it, Bodhi. You can't quite place what it's actually been pickled in. But I mean, it doesn't taste that bad. It just tastes like chicken.
Yeah, and then he will take a liberal swig of was it the dropping coffee?
Yes,
dropping.
It's a coffee made out of guana. No, guan, I think it is. Yeah, bird dropping, etc. In this case, it's in wet rat dropping.
Eliza, I think I have all the information I need. We shall go and see whether or not we can convince this spirit to leave you alone.
Oh, that would be very nice. And in exchange, you will be needing what?
You mentioned when we first came down here about the expedition.
Yes.
That
was a strange thing. That was very strange.
And any information that you have on it would be of most use for us, and very, very interesting as well.
I think that's fair. Once I've seen that the spirit has been dispatched, then I'm sure we can come to an agreement. We can have some tea and sit down and discuss things, and I can answer your questions.
Yeah, and maybe if you could tell us of a faster way back up to the surface, rather than rather than the sewer system. That
that's
again would be
interesting.
most.
I will have a think about that.
Thank you very much. Yes, right.
Okay, so she leads you actually through the carriage. So imagine like an underground tube. What the front doors are the sliding doors right in front of you are her front doors. But as they open, the back two open as well, and that's her back door. And so you can literally walk straight through her carriage, which doubles up as a home. And as you sort of like look from side to side, you can see that it's got all the mod cons in there. There's very little technical equipment, but there's something like a little hob to cook things on, and there seems to be a water purifier in the corner. There seems to be bedding and somewhere to sit, etc., etc. And there are some plants that look very wilted, and you come to the conclusion that's probably because of a distinct lack of natural daylight down here. They are growing, but you think it's probably from the ambient ultraviolet light strip lights that she's actually got up. It's probably providing some natural UV light for them.
You mentioned that there was a when we first got there was like a trid playing.
Yeah, as you go through, you see over in the corner, it's actually what appears to be a wireless, an old-fashioned wireless or radio. And right. It's just sort of like playing. So it's quite primitive. It's like sound only. And it's just sort of like playing in the corner. You think Eliza's probably quite deaf as well. It's either that or she just likes to hear things extremely loudly, because it is very loud, and you can hear them discussing the urban brawl game. That's what it was. Yeah.
Okay
then, so you pass through her home, and as you continue down the tube line, you can see quite clearly that the tracks are still in place, and she sort of like waves goodbye to you, and she sort of like says, "You'll find him down there to the left."
Oh, thank you very much.
As you head off, and you sort of like,
are there any markings on the side of the tunnel, like, do you know, like you have in on the underground in the UK at the moment, where as you sort of like going down, it sort of like tells you when you get into places? Does it have anything like that?
There seems to be a range of marks and numbers. There's also various graffiti that has been drawn on here. By the look of the rail tracks, you don't think this part of the underground has been used for some time.
Okay. Is there anything that we can use to get our bearings to see whether or not we're underneath south side or whether or not we're underneath the contaminated zone?
Well, all the markings are things like southeast 1.7 or 2.4k or something like that. There seems to be no maps or anything like that on the underground, on this tunnel. And plus and as previously mentioned, you're so far underground that your map softs can't actually make connection with the satellite, so you don't really know, but you figure just roll a judge intention roll.
I didn't know whether or not there was any. You were mentioning tags. I didn't know whether or not anybody with sort of like gang knowledge would be able to sort of like see.
You can roll gang knowledge if.
No, I don't have it.
Oh, so just roll a judge intention roll then. Yeah, there are various signs on here. There's nothing that looks familiar at all to you. There's no sort of like coding, because you have been in the tube before. If you remember, you went on a journey round to find the missing posh daughter, and this seems to be quite alien to that, and there seems to be no correlation between the two. So your final thought is, well, two thoughts really. Number one, this was obviously made a long time ago and never been used since. And the second thing is that you do feel by now, especially since all the activity or the tunnel trawling you did up above, that you probably are well underneath the contaminated zone by now. Very much so.
Okay, so as Studley's walking down, he wants to keep. He will go for a bit, and then he'll stop, and he'll switch his astral perception and sort of like see whether or not he can see anything, make sure that they're not being followed or watched, both forwards and backwards.
Cool.
Before carrying on. So he'll do that every sort of like, well, how far? We don't know how. He'll do it every sort of like 15 meters. He'll just go 15 meters, stop, just switch to his astral perception, have a look, around, see whether or not he can see any auras before carrying on.
Okay, so just make a general sensing roll, and then we can use the number of successes that you get from that for all the time, rather than re-rolling it every time. 2 successes.
Yeah, and as he's walking, he'll say to the others, I don't. Well, from what Eliza was saying, I don't really think this spirit actually means her any harm at all. It would seem by her conversation that it can. It was only trying to communicate with her when she was astrally projecting.
Right. Okay. So just that. I mean, would we be able to, or would you be able to persuade it to stop doing that, or are we going to have to fight it? It's just I've heard nasty things about spirits, like turning people inside out, and that's...
yes. To be honest with you, neither you or Mr. Bob are really. Well, let's just say. Fighting spirits who wouldn't be on the top of your roles.
I heard that as well.
Challenge accepted.
Yes. I'm hoping that this might be a simple case of maybe even helping the spirit rather than destroying it. It may be that it itself is trapped down here. Maybe there is very much like the Matrix side of it. There is also a bit of a background count on the magic. I don't know whether or not maybe that has affected it in some way.
Maybe, but I like the idea of helping or persuading it to stop as opposed to it turning Billy Bob inside out.
Yes. I'd just like to say that the last time I did have to fight a spirit, it incapacitated me for a fairly long time. If that does happen, be prepared to carry on the. Yes.
Good thing I've got some slap patches then.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. You do know that they're not the best thing to use on anybody actively magical active, don't you?
I didn't, but I do now.
Yes, the chemicals in them are very addictive. And for someone who is constantly getting drained, myself, I am already carrying a fair bit of drain around with me. Best not. Anyway,
right, okay.
we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so you continued following the tracks in the direction that the arrow is pointed out. This is nothing like the drainage tunnels that you were in beforehand. So there's literally two lines, parallel lines of track going down. Like I said before, it doesn't look too new at all. It's very old. You can see that it's almost like rusted in places. There are some places that it almost like looks as if somebody's tried to take the track and sort of like nick it. As you get further and further away from Eliza's tube house, you do notice that it's down to your own low light and infravision thermographics that you're actually starting to get an idea. So most of you you've all got torches, so you can start taking those out, and you've almost like given up hope that there's nothing down here until you notice, and you almost like upon it before you actually see it. But just where I'm drawing on the map, can you see that red bit?
Can
indeed.
There's almost it's almost like imagine that the the walls have been sort of like joined together in almost like pieces, and at this point you can see that the tunnel wall, the stone tunnel wall, looks like it's been almost like knocked outwards, and it's you can see all the rubble down on the floor round it. The hole's about, it's slightly taller than a human, so you think it's probably as tall as a troll standing upright. However, the width of it is the most concerning thing, because it's so narrow you wouldn't actually be able to walk down it forward. It looks like it's going to be one of these that you're going to have to turn sideways and sort of like almost like inch your way down it. You shine your torches down there, and you notice that it goes to the edge of your torchlight and you can't see any further. It's still it's less than a meter wide, and you notice that as it goes further out, it seems to be coming through rock or earth or ground, as if it definitely looks as if something has blown its way out of here rather than digging into it.
So instead of digging into the tunnel, it's going.
It looks
out.
like somebody has come into the tunnel that.
Also, they come into the tunnel.
Yeah. So if you imagine it that round the actual entrance, there's sort of like a whole load of bricks and rubble. So it's definitely a case of it's come into your tunnel rather than out of it.
So looking down it, Studley's going to say, this seems very strange. I'm not sure whether or not I'm even going to be able to get down there.
Is that what we're looking for? So is that can a spirit do that?
Well, it could be a spirit. It could be a pneumatic jackhammer. It could be somebody with a very big sledgehammer. It could be a rocket launcher.
I think
it could be something that. It could be numerous things. I wouldn't necessarily mean that this is has actually been done by the spirit.
Oh, right. Okay. I know they can turn things inside out. I didn't know if they could blast through. And the birdie peers around, tilts his head and peers down. Earth and solid rock.
I think you're the only one who can get through.
You can all fit down the passageway, turning sideways. Some of you might be a slightly more of a squeeze than others. If you've got any,
I think Studley's actually broader when he's turned sideways.
yeah. But if you've
no.
got anything on your back, you won't be able to carry anything on your back to go down. So you'd have to sort of like carry it out to one side as you shimmer down it. Also, you figure out, that combat down this corridor, down this snickle way almost, is going to be extremely limited, to say the least.
Right. I suppose best I go first then. If I do get stuck, if you wouldn't mind just give me a gentle push.
Push, okay, not pull.
Just to help me on my way.
So
Can we not make the hole bigger?
What's the order going down this small gap then?
Studley's going to be first.
Okay.
Okay.
Bodhi's going to go last.
Okay.
I was going to say to Billy Bob, I think you probably stand a bit of a better chance of one arm pushing or pulling Studley than I would.
Good idea.
Okay, Studley. So, are you just going straight down, or is there anything else you would like?
No, I mean he's going to go down carefully. He wants to keep checking on the astral through his astral perception to see whether or not he can see anything up ahead. Every sort of 5-10 meters, he also wants to stop, motion for everybody else to stop, and he wants to listen to see whether or not he can see anything.
Okay.
And at this, on the same lines, when he stops and listens, he'll also indicate for everybody to turn their flashlights off, and he'll use thermographic vision to check ahead of him.
Okay, so just roll a perception roll for me, please. Two successes, brilliant. Okay then, so as you start to sort of like inch your way down this very narrow tunnel, you do notice that the sides of it are very irregular. It definitely doesn't look like something very smooth has done this out. It's almost like it's been hacked away by something to actually get through to the main underground tunnel. And you seem to be getting closer and closer to what appears to be, and you've travelled about 200 meters. It seems to open out into some kind of a cave up ahead. However, Studley, as you look on the astral, it's quite clear that there seems to be some kind of barrier on the astral plane only.
Right. Okay. Can Studley sense it and find out?
Well, if you roll your sensing, and then we can see what.
My other thing that I did beforehand, which I think I did wrong, was when I rolled my sensing, I didn't take into account any background count.
Oh, so it should be one less dice.
Because, -1.
Yeah, because of the background count. There's my table. Yeah, so it definitely looks like a mana barrier of some description. It looks quite different. You don't think it's from your tradition. It looks quite different from something a mage would actually create. It's still a mana barrier, but it's almost like it looks. You can see almost like images in it, almost like glyphs moving around it as you look at it. Well, mages tend to be very simplistic but functional. This looks like somebody's spent a lot of time actually creating it.
Studley's going to say subvocally.
There seems to be some type of mana barrier up ahead, blocking our route. We should be able to actually go through it, depending on how strong it is. I could probably press through it myself. I don't know whether or not it will be of any, whether or not it would impede you two. But the funny thing is that, as far as I'm aware, spirits are not capable of actually erecting barriers. So it may well be that the spirit actually is under service of another shaman.
That sounds slightly better, Bodhi says over subvocals, because if it's a person, then we can be reasoning with it.
We shall have to see.
So Studley's going to continue on his way towards the barrier.
Okay. So you get right way up to the entrance to the cavern. You notice that the mana barrier appears to be spherical around the cave. The cave inside is completely and utterly empty. There seems to be nothing in there. It seems to be moulded or cut out of rock, the same as the corridor has been, that you're sidling down sideways like rather adventurous crabs. But the cave beyond looks exactly the same in the way it's been excavated. However, it is completely empty. There is no there's no sign of anything apart from just living stuff.
Okay, and how big is it?
It's about the width of your corridor that you can see in front of you on the map. So if I was to draw it roughly on, then hang on, let me just I'll draw it on here for you. So it's literally like that.
Okay, so not the actual cabin is. So
it's only about 5. It's only about 5 meters long, if in diameter, if that.
And does the barrier seem to go right up to the ceiling?
It seems to be spherical round the actual cave, as if it's encasing it.
This does seem very weird. Well,
Really?
I guess I better knock.
And
Might be
as he
an
says
idea.
that, Studley's going to gather his magic, and he's going to walk through the barrier.
Yeah. Do you have anything that's actually active on you at the moment?
I don't have any. None of my concentration isn't active, nor is my foci.
Okay, just roll a memory check for me, please.
Did it well?
No. Oh, it has done now. 3 successes. Yeah, and you remember that a mana barrier will break any connection on foci or anything like that. It will also prevent spirits or anything in an astral form passing through it if it's strong enough.
Right.
And you sort of like appear. You sort of like go through it and appear on the opposite side of it. It's a quite strange feeling going through it. You almost like feel as if you're pressing your way through almost like rats brushing up against you, and it gives you a very strange sensation as you actually go through it. But you manage to push your way through. It doesn't seem that strong, but you come out the other side into the cave.
You don't need me to roll anything.
No, you only need to do it if you've got some. You're not in astral form, so
Right,
it's
okay.
only if you've got magical things.
So once inside, Studley wants to start having a look at the floor and see whether or not he notices anything strange about it, other markings.
Okay, so you start to
Or on the walls, any etchings,
okay,
engravings.
so you start going around the cave, sort of like exploring it and looking for specific anything of interest. So Bodhi and Billy Bob, what's your plan of action? You're still both in the narrow corridor at the moment.
Sorry, I was waiting for Billy Bob.
I'm muted there. Yeah, so Billy Bob's gonna try and get through this barrier. See if he can get through.
It poses no problems to both of you. Bodhi, are you going through it as well?
Bodhi will go through as well. He doesn't like the fact that he's stuck between two bits of stone.
Yeah, so this is a little bit more open for you. And what are you two going to do once you actually get into the cave?
Billy Bob's just gonna look round, stay on guard, basically.
Okay, cool.
Bodhi will have sort of like cast his eyes around, sort of like see if there's anything that catches his interest. Really, he's kind of a little bit skeptical on where he's waiting for a spirit to suddenly go boo.
What sort of things would you find interesting?
Naked ladies.
If there's any technology in there, or
that's
signs of life, that sort of thing.
No, it's completely devoid. It just seems to be and there's no technology in here at all. It just seems to be a completely empty cave. Studley, can you make your perception roll for me, please? Oh, wow, your rolls are not good today.
No.
What? One more? Oh, you've got a wound penalty. Is that right?
Yeah. I'm 4 stun at the moment.
One more. 4 left.
No, 4 taken.
So you're 6 stun. Yeah. One more, and that would have been a critical glitch. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you look around, and you can't see anything at all around here. It seems to be absolutely, completely, and utterly devoid of everything. If anything, it's quite. You're beginning to wonder why there's been a cave here, for starters, and number 2, why there's a mana barrier around it, because it looks like it's actually not protecting anything. It's when you're thinking that something actually happens in the cavern. Billy Bob and Bodhi decide who wants to be odds and who wants to be evens.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot, scissors. I'll be odd.
Okay, I'll say Big Bob could be odds, but okay.
Odds. So who's that? Sorry,
That's Billy Bob.
Billy Bob. Yeah. So you see Studley. He's going around looking at things, or like peering at things through his glasses. And you're roughly on the other side of the room. You're looking at a various interesting rock formation, but you've decided that it's not actually a sculpture. It's just things jagging out. When all of a sudden, Billy Bob, you notice that something very strange is happening, and you look down at your feet, and you suddenly notice that the earth, the ground, the rock, has started to almost like creep up your legs. Okay, guys, let's have. Let me just bring on my initiative tracker. And don't forget to click your tokens before you do. That's all right. Who have I waited for? Does your thank you. Boom. Yeah. Okay then. So yes, Billy Bob. So you notice the rock starting to sort of like clamber up your legs. Imagine vines growing out of the ground, coming up, and it's very similar to that, but it appears to be almost like totally sort of like bits of rock.
Okay. Can he move?
Well, it looks like your feet are now encased in the rock. It seems to be part. So you can try to pull them out if you wish.
Billy Bob's gonna like let out a what the hell's this? And he's gonna like try and pull his feet out.
Okay, cool. So can you make for me, please, a strength? I need you to roll your strength against my strength.
No problem.
So I don't. Sorry, hang on. Let me just get this right, because I don't think you can roll strength checks, can't you?
Who?
You guys. Yes, you can. Yeah.
Yeah, just roll strength.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So roll your strength.
4 successes.
Yeah, you start to try to move your leg and try to pull it out of the rock, and you suddenly realise before you put your whole force behind it that you think it's so encased in it that if you try to pull it too hard, you might be successful, but it almost like be breaking the bone. Because it seems to be almost like imagine that there's a manacle around it, you know, like a metal ring. It's almost like trying to pull through that, and it seems quite solid. Bodhi, you up?
So Bodhi's going to suddenly sort of like whip around and look at Billy Bob. Can he see? Is that what's actually happening? Has the ground started to swallow?
No, it's growing. It's growing up his legs.
It is actually doing that.
That's what it looks like.
Okay. Bodhi's gonna. He's gonna rush over and he's gonna. Is it happening to him, or is it just happening to Billy Bob? Sorry.
It's just happening to Billy Bob.
Okay. He's going to rush over and
ask if he's all right.
I'm trying to think of how he can be useful.
Maybe try and break the rock.
I haven't got anything to break it. I'm not gonna. He's going to. He'll try and help. If Billy Bob's still trying to sort of like pull his leg out, he'll try and help pull his leg out.
How are you helping him pull his leg out?
Sort of. Where's the rock? Is it sort of like below his knee at the moment?
Yeah. Every sort of like second, it seems to be sort of like engulfing him from his feet upwards.
He'll probably sort of like, if it's below his knee, he'll grab Billy Bob just above the knee of one of the legs, and every time Billy Bob pulls, he'll sort of add his strength to it to try and pull the leg out.
Okay then, so Billy Bob, stop doing that now, haven't you, Billy Bob? Because you don't want to snap your leg. So
I don't want to pull my foot off.
yeah, so you look down, Billy Bob, and Bodie sort of like has got his arms on your thigh, grabbing it, ready to pull when you pull. Studley, you up?
Is it like one of those little kids that hugs its dad's leg? The commotion behind him, Studley's going to turn round and seeing this rock thing going up Billy Bob's leg, he wants to switch to his astral perception and see what form it actually takes in astral.
Yeah. Well, once you switch into your astral plane, you can see it quite clearly, and it appears that you're in almost like a translucent bubble, almost like sat in a crystal ball, and you can see that there seems to be almost like a bit like the Thing of Fantastic Four. It seems to be some kind of golem that is made out of rock and earth, and you can see it almost like pulling itself away from the earth and almost like preparing itself to engulf Billy Bob.
Okay. Was that my...
yeah, that's what I was just checking. I think that isn't switching your senses a complex action? Let's just...
I'd have to bring up my cheat sheet.
Yeah, well, you do that and see what it is. I'm just bringing up mine. I have a funniest feeling, switch senses. If it's a simple action, what else do you wish to do?
No, I think it's because the actual skill use is using the sensing anyway.
Oh, right. So it'd be like a skill. Yeah, good point. Okay then. So this is Spirit's roll now. I need that, and I need that amount of dice. Yeah, so you feel it clamping around you, Billy Bob, and almost like faster than it's ever done before. You look down, and the rock just seems to rapidly move up you, as if it's literally just engulfing you with rock. Can you make a body plus armor roll? So that's just like your normal soak roll, but you need to have a -4 to the roll.
Okay. So
will his magic protection help at all?
What is it?
It's no.
I don't think it will, because it's not actually a spell that I'm using.
Right.
Magic resistance.
But I'm checking that now. It's a positive quality, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gives you +1 dice when resisting spells.
Let's just see what it says. What's it called?
Magic resistance.
Magic resistance. Right. Potential for every creature to receive 100 on the magical resistance qualities. Character cannot lower it, so a character with magic cannot take part in such spells automatically fail. Yeah, it's more to do with spells that are casting at you rather than this. So yeah, so roll your soak with a -4.
Did that work?
Yeah, I did. 7. Okay, so that will be 9. So you actually take 2 physical stun. 2 physical boxes, sorry, as this starts to crush around you. Bodhi, you actually take one physical. No, you can roll your soak roll as well. No, actually, don't roll your soak roll. Roll your like your dodge roll. Sorry, did you want to say something, Billy Bob?
No, I was just finding the physical thing.
It's just,
Not to do that in a while.
Okay, so Bodhi, what you've managed to do is that just because you've got hold of Billy Bob's leg, just as this rock sort of like starts to encase your hands as well, you quickly move them out the way and step back slightly as it continues. And Billy Bob, you can feel this rock is now encased you, and you can feel it as if it's just going and about to squeeze the life out of you. Adjust your initiatives, please, guys. So Billy Bob and Bodhi, you'll have 7 and 1, and then that will be the end. Studley will go down to 0, and the spirit will go down to -.
You say I'm fully encased now?
Yeah, you're fully encased if you wish. If you would like to try to escape, you can make a strength and body check. So you add up those two and roll them, and that will be matched by my magic and body.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So Billy Bob's going to struggle and try and break free of this.
Okay. So you need to roll your what did I say? Body and strength and body. So you need to add them up because is that lift and carry?
Lift and carry is body and strength. Yeah.
I thought it was.
So just roll that then.
Yeah.
Carry. Situation modifiers -4.
No. This isn't -4. Only your you had -4 to your soak roll because it's not actually penetrating your armor.
Okay.
So you get 5 successes. So let me just do the spirit, which would be 4 plus 4, 12. Yeah, you managed to get 1 success out of it. So as it sort of like crunches up, it almost like pushes your arms together, and you manage to break free. What your arms, both arms, come free at that point. So you'll be able to act next round. Bodhi, you're on
1. Bodhi's running out of ideas here. The only thing he can think of is to try and shoot it, but he doesn't really want to shoot it in case he harms Billy Bob at the same time.
Easier to tell me what you are doing.
Yeah, I know. Probably. Bodhi wants to look around to see if there's something on the floor he can use to bash the rocks that's engulfing Billy Bob with. Like a bigger rock, or it just seems to be. Make your perception roll. A better roll for me this time. 3.
3. Yeah, no. It seems that most of the rocks. I mean, there is a small pebble or hand-shaped rock around, and you sort of like search for one and pick it up. Right, now new initiatives, please, for the next round. I actually rolled 2 1s on the last one.
I want to blitz.
And seize initiative.
No, I want to blitz.
Okay.
Rather than seizing the initiative, so I want to roll.
Oh, you're rolling extra dice. Yeah.
5d6s and adding 6 onto it.
Cool.
Why did that just roll 1? Ignore that.
Well, is that rolled?
That's it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay,
yeah.
so that's 19, which should take you up to the top. Yeah. So Studley, you go first.
Okay, so Studley wants to try to banish this spirit.
Okay, so that's that is your banishing plus your magic, and it's limited by your astral, and it's opposed by my force plus my summoner's magic if it's bound to anybody.
Okay. I'm also pre-edging this roll.
Okay, cool. So remember, any net successes will remove the service, how many services it's actually got. So if it had 5 services on it and you got 4 successes, it wouldn't be banished because it's still got 1 more. Yeah. Okay. Then, off you go. Roll away.
Do I have the -1 situation modifier
Correct.
or not?
Always, right while you're down here at the moment.
Come on, and again. 8 successes.
8 successes. So it resists you and only gets 1 success. So that takes it down to 7 successes. The beast had no services left on it. So you literally sort of like drain it of its energy and sort of like banish it from this area. And Billy Bob, you notice that all of a sudden your all the rocks that are around you just sort of like almost like evaporate from your body, and you are whole again, for want of a better word.
Billy Bob's he's gonna turn around and say, "Oh, I hate this spooky rock."
Bodhi's got a rock.
Bodhi's looking at the rock, looking at the rocks, which have they turned to like dust, or
They've just dissipated. It looks like that there's nothing else there at all.
He looks at the rock, looks at Billy Bob, and goes, "Won't be needing this," and just throws it behind him.
Yeah. Cool.
Studley wants to switch again to his astral. Is the mana barrier still up?
Yeah, you don't need to sense it. You can see that it is there. You can sense it if you wish. You will have -1 on your dice because you've already sensed it once, but you can, and if you got any successes, then you would be entitled to information about it.
Yes, I want to do that.
Cool.
From Studley's, I mean, Studley can cast a mana barrier. He knows that if he dies, the mana barrier goes. Because it's linked to him. So if the barrier's up, it's -2 then I'm at, -1 for the background count and -1 because I've already done it before.
Yeah, correct.
And Billy Bob
success.
free action and say, "Do you mind if we step out of this?"
Yeah, and Studley, you get the rating of the mana barrier. Number 1, the mana barrier, as previously suspected, is of shamanic tradition. It's not a hermetic mage mana barrier. And you also figure it's about force 6 on it. And you figure the force of the spirit that you've just banished is probably about force 4 or something like that. So it's almost as if the mana barrier was created to keep
it in,
rather than the spirit having created it to keep something out. This is further justified by the sense that it is actually spherical.
So it's to stop it going, because if it wasn't, then the spirit could just then go underneath the ground and use its movement to.
It could just move through the rock and get out of it.
Does Studley know the difference between a mana barrier and a something like a hermetic lodge?
Okay, roll your magical theory or some kind of knowledge skill if you've got it.
No, I haven't.
In which case, roll your magic. Just roll your magic. So
my spell casting?
No, your magic, like 6
All
dice.
right, yeah. With a modifier or not? No.
No, you just
I'm not doing anything.
You're not doing anything. I'm just seeing whether or not you know something.
Ooh.
Yeah, what was the question?
Do I know, as far as the shamanic tradition goes, the difference between a mana barrier and a hermetic lodge? You said that there was you said that there was sort of like things scrolling round on it. Now, when I cast my mana barrier, that doesn't.
Yeah, you figured that this isn't a shamanic lodge. You figure it's just a mana barrier that somebody erected, but it's almost as if they've been erecting it, reinforcing it and adding to it over time, or maybe sealing bits, and it looks like it almost looks like a work of art in the astral. It looks really almost like pretty. Yeah, so
I can't read the aura of it and track the person who created it via that, can I?
Well, you got 3 successes on your last thing, and I gave you 3 pieces of information. The actual hang on, let me just call it up, because to actually gain so if you had got, so you've got 3 successes, so it would allow you to, whether the subject's essence or magic are higher or lower than you on your than your own, which that, giving you that, whether the force is higher or lower than your own. Your magic is 6, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the magic you think that's created this is higher than 6. And it also says any astral signatures present on the object. And yeah, you can see that's what appears that rat thing is. It's almost like the astral signature. Now, if you had seen this signature before, you would automatically know where it's come from.
Mm-hmm.
But you haven't seen it before.
So there's no astral aura going, because from Studley's knowledge of the mana barrier, the ones that he casts, he has to sustain it. So therefore, there's a link between himself and the barrier that he puts up.
Right. So in order to do that, because mana barriers, as you know, are opaque. So currently you can't see out of it at all. What you would have to do is come out of it. Out of the mana barrier to see the outside of it, and then you would have to sense where it's going, and then you would have to follow it in astral space, or you would just have to walk in using astral perception, and walk to see where it goes.
Okay, but so Stuzy's going to say,
this seems very, very strange. It was almost like the barrier had been put up to keep the spirit where it was.
That sounds like a good thing after what it did to Billy Bob.
Yes. If you wanted my opinion, I would probably say that the spirit itself was probably summoned by Eliza.
I was just about to say, was it Eliza who put that thing you mentioned, the mana barrier? Is that what you called it?
The barrier was there to prevent the spirit from moving. I would probably say that's why it was prodding her when she was going onto the actual when she was going onto the astral plane.
So does that mean it's job done, and we can go back to and say we got rid of the spirit?
The spirit in question, that particular one, has been banished. It will no longer be able to manifest itself on the physical plane. I blew its astral molecule to Kingdom Come.
Oh, well, That's good then. So we could go back to say it's done. But I didn't like the way that you just said that particular one.
Well, there's
Is there
certain.
more in here? Birdie says, and he starts looking around as if he could actually see them.
Well, that's assuming that it was Eliza who actually summoned it. If not, then there is another magically capable person somewhere close.
Billy Bob's going to turn around and say, so why are we still stood in here if there may be more?
I'm with him. Can we go back into the main tunnel now, please?
We would actually know if it came through the barrier because it would have to pass through it.
Right. Okay. After you, Billy Bob. Shall we go back into the main tunnel?
And he's gonna walk out. Or
Cody's probably going to be hot on his heels because he's just seen
the wrong way.
he's just seen the ground swallow Billy Bob whole, and Cody was just going, well, I can't do anything to help. I've got nothing to help him, so he wants to get out there quick.
Billy Bob's going to shudder because
walking behind, he forgot to turn his subvocal mic off, and you just hear him mumbling about trying to work out the feasibility of something breaking out of the mana barrier and the force of the spirit, the power of the spirit and the power of the mana barrier, and whether or not it would be actually be able to contact somebody through it.
So once we're out, Bodhi will turn to everyone and say, so we're going back to Eliza, or are we going to carry on looking around for another magic person or spirit?
I don't think it would actually harm to maybe. No, we should go back.
We'll go back. Okay.
Cool. We've already lost one member of the away team. We really need to know.
Oh yes, that was the live one, wasn't it?
She didn't mention anything about anybody else or any other spirit. She just mentioned the one, and the place where that we went to was the location of the lair that she gave us. So
it sounds like we have done it. Great, that's good. So we can go back and get some more rat on a pickle.
As you make your way back down to the carriage where Eliza is waiting for you, and as you get closer, you see she's actually stood at the back door and sort of like is waving to you, and you sort of like, before you even say anything, she sort of like says, "Oh, brilliant, you've done the job. I knew you could do it."
I take it that the spirit was of your doing, Eliza.
Oh, it wasn't my spirit.
Was the mana barrier yours?
Yes, it was.
There to keep it in place.
Exactly. I knew you got in there. I felt you.
Yes. I did that on purpose. I wanted to make myself aware on both the astral and the physical plane to anybody who might be keeping an eye on the barrier. Almost like a gentle knock on the door.
Yes,
or
a gentle prod. A gentle prod. So, she says, let's sit down and have some more tea and coffee, and you can ask questions. How about that?
Yes, as you will probably appreciate, time is of the essence, and although your hospitality is very gratefully received, if we could maybe dismiss with the formalities, and if we could ask you the questions, and we believe that there are lives at stake.
Yes, that sounds absolutely fine. So, ask away, she says.
You mentioned when we first came down here about the location of the expedition.
Ah, yes. Now there lies a story. Yes, I heard them. So I did some investigation of my own, if that makes sense. Shortly after they had passed the waterfall, I became aware of them. They were a bit like a group of naughty school children on an expedition somewhere. They were laughing and joking. They seemed tense, but almost like excited. And it's almost as if they were treating their whole job as if it was some kind of Sunday walk.
Yes.
So it's fair to say they were in high spirits.
Oh yes.
Cody says with a little like half smirk as he looks over at Billy Bob.
They were talking about fighting critters, and they seemed far too confident, if you ask me. But nobody ever asked me. Nobody asked Eliza anything.
Did you follow them, Eliza?
Oh yes, I followed them quietly for some time. They didn't know I was there.
And did they venture into the subway tunnels?
No, that's an interesting question. They actually traversed over the gap altogether and carried on down the tunnel. However, that's when their mood changed rather abruptly.
You've obviously spent some time down here, and you're very knowledgeable on the tunnel system.
Yes.
Were you aware of any entity, be it either mundane or magical, that dwelled above the waterfall?
Above the waterfall? I don't go up there. I just wait for people to come down. If anybody, nobody's been down for decades.
Right. It was very strange because we did see a room that was almost like a.
That would have been Enrico. He lives in the tunnel system.
Is he a vagrant?
He's actually a very, very good and very well, he was good and he was quite likable up to a point.
I didn't sense anybody when we were travelling through. When you say he was good, I take it he no longer is.
He got a bit how can one put it? Loopy. We used to have tea together. We used to talk about the olden days. I think he was part of a corporation, I think. But then he's lived in the tunnels forever now. Well, it seems like
what was his name again? Sorry, Alberto.
Enrico.
Oh yes. So the expedition you saw going across the.
Oh yes, they went straight across. Some
yeah,
fancy
you
rope
said
trick, if you ask me.
I don't suppose you can remember how many there was of them, could you?
Oh, now that's a good question. I have a funniest feeling that it was a full complement. Yeah, they were definitely all there.
Right.
So all. She pauses for a while as if she's counting, and she said, "Yeah, all 7."
Did you follow them all the way, or did you stop following them part way after they crossed the gap?
Oh, well, I'm not too sure what you mean by all the way.
As in, did you? At what point did you stop following them?
The destination.
I don't know where they were heading. All I know is that once they crossed the abyss, then their mood almost changed. I could sense fear, almost like as if they were being threatened.
I don't suppose by any chance you know what is across the abyss.
Oh, that leads to Enrico's place. You know, the loopy guy I was talking about.
Ah.
You know, they even talked about aborting the mission. Fancy that?
Oh.
Any of them still alive?
Say again?
Any of them still alive?
Well, none of them have come back. I haven't been up there for quite a while. It was almost like unnerving. And only about half an hour after they had passed the abyss, I followed them for a little while. But it was unnerving. It made me feel sad. And their feelings were getting more and more disturbed. So I came home.
You say that you used to chat away with Enrico and have tea, etc., etc. You also mentioned that he said that he worked for a corporation.
Yes.
I don't suppose you could remember by any chance of what corporation he used to work for, can you?
Oh, now that is a difficult one.
Yes.
My memory seems to fall on important things. I remember important things rather than names. Things like when to water the plants.
What about did he ever show you I don't know, like an emblem of any of the corporation he worked for? I wonder whether or not if I showed you something, it might maybe jog your memory.
I tell you what. Yes, you can show me things. That'd be interesting.
So Studley wants to try to bring up the picture of the list of the away team.
Yeah.
And depending on what the signal's like, he wants to try to maybe send it to his bit of. He wants to roll out a bit of electronic paper, and see whether or not he can send it to that.
Oh, send it. So it's on the piece of paper. Yeah.
Yeah. So that even though we have it stored, that it can be, it will pull up on. I can't remember what it was, what format it was in.
Yeah, it was sent to you electronically.
Yeah.
So it was just sort of like you can then print it out onto a piece of paper because it's electronic paper. And so that's absolutely fine. Yeah. So I've just got the handout up on the stream. So you're doing like that flower symbol. Is that what you?
Yeah. So he wants to know whether or not. I mean, if you can't do it that way, then what he'll do is that he'll try to sort of like draw it in some of the, I don't know, the ash by the side of the by the road, just by the side of the tracks.
Yeah, you sort of like draw it.
Some dust.
Yeah, you draw it, and she sort of like says, "Oh, that's lovely. That."
Oh, thank you very much.
That looks like a flower.
Yes, that's what it's supposed to be.
No, it doesn't look familiar that at all. Apart from maybe a flower.
Excellent. I don't suppose.
I remembered.
Oh, well done.
He used to work for something Sun. A girl's name, I'm sure of it. Or was it a plant? It was something. Something Sun. Definitely something Sun.
Was it Jasmine?
Jasmine Sun! That's it! He used to work for Jasmine Sun.
Yes.
I presume that's a woman. Sounds like a woman's name.
Well, indeed, it does indeed sound like a woman's name.
Yeah. But I tell you what, the gunfire really made me nervous.
Exactly how long ago was this, Eliza?
Well, I said I was following the expedition, and they got very nervous, and they were talking about aborting, etc., etc. Well, after that, I didn't like it. I didn't like the vibes that were coming off them, so I came back to my house here, and then about 2 hours later, there was definitely the sound, very distant sounds of gunfire, and almost like cries. almost like as if something was going wrong. And then it's been very, very quiet since then.
Yeah, so your the information that you've given us has been most beneficial to us, and yes,
Enrico was a nice man. We used to have beer together and listen to the radio.
Is there any way you can locate them now?
Oh, his research labs are past the abyss. I'm sure he still lives there. I'm sure of it. I just don't go ever since he got cuckoo, cuckoo. You know, he's not nice. He's not nice once he's drunk, and he's even worse when he's drunk and loopy.
was he one of us? Magically active.
Oh yes, he was quite proficient.
Did he follow your tradition, or was he more of a powerful?
He was more of the other sort.
Myself.
He was more the other sort. You know, he wasn't. And he definitely had a grudge against someone. I think it was that lady, Jasmine.
Yes, Jasmine. Yes.
It wasn't. But the other thing, I must say.
Did he ever mention his research?
Well, I think he was looking for a cure. I'm sure he kept talking about a cure. And see, the last time I sensed him, there was definitely something inside him. Almost like a disease, an infection. You know, something like dwarf sickness or elf bug. Something like that. He seemed to be almost like eating him up from inside.
Oh.
And then he went loopy. And our friendship went downhill from there. I mean, who wants to be friends with a loopy mage?
Well, exactly.
Yeah, perhaps it was the thing inside him that you said that was eating it up that made him go loopy.
Well, that is quite possible with elf bug.
I'm not familiar with elf bug.
Roll. Does anybody have any physical medical sciences or anything like that?
If it's something that might have affected, affect critters or to do with parazoology.
Not. Roll a memory check. Everybody can roll a memory check. Studley, you can add an extra dice to it because you used to working in newspapers, so you might have found something else out when you were doing your fanzine, etc. Right, okay then. So Billy Bob and Bodhi, you remember you've heard about elf bug and dwarf sickness, and you remember that it's something to do, it's almost like plague-like. And Studley, you remember it quite clearly because it was dwarf sickness or elf bug that actually started to spread like an epidemic around what was once the contaminated zone, what it is now, sorry. And that was, you remember hearing news stories about it before the whole area was sterilized, for want of a better word.
Right. Okay. So Studley's going to say to Eliza, you have been most helpful.
Thank you. And do come again.
Yes, certainly.
I don't get very many visitors down here.
And the other thing that I was interested in, is there a quicker way to the surface without going back up through the waterfall?
Yes. If you can continue along here, and she points out of her building. And I think it comes up to a station eventually. I'm sure there's a station there that leads into the up above. You know, it's not a nice place up there though.
No.
Not nice
Oh,
at all.
right.
Yes, I can well imagine. Yes, thank you very much for your help, Eliza, and absolutely fantastic too.
Oh, thank you very much. And don't be strangers.
Oh no, we certainly yes. Oh,
Yes, thank you.
And you head off back to the descent place, ready to climb up. And it's just gone 8:30, so we will take our first break there. So if you're watching on the stream, go and stretch your legs and grab your favourite beverage, and we will be back in 10. Yeah, they're talking about yawns. Oh, let's put you on to the little one. So yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
so you are back. You've reached, if you remember, there's the abyssal gap that now you're going to have to climb up. So
But is the climbing equipment from the expedition team there already?
yeah, and yours is as well.
Ours is on the other. Ours is on one side, isn't it?
Yeah, but you could make two climbing rolls to sort of like get up the other side, or you can go up the other side if you wish and use the climbing gear. You don't think the expedition actually came down. You think they went almost like straight across.
Yeah.
They almost like either did two ropes and sort of like shimmied across, or somehow got along the walls. But you can make a climbing roll to get up the other side, which is not a problem. If you remember, it's 6 meters. Yeah. So you have to climb up 6 meters. And the test is I always get this wrong.
It's gymnastics.
Gymnastics, rather athletics. Yeah, gymnastics plus strength is your roll, and then you roll that, and that the net hits and determine. Oh, what's that?
What's what?
What was that? Bling bling.
Was it my mic going off?
It could have been.
I was sneezing, so
I don't know. It just went bling bling.
I didn't hear it.
It sounded like somebody's phone going.
Mine's on silent.
Right, okay then. So it's gymnastic plus strength, and then that's the number of meters. Now remember, the walls are quite slippery, so you'll have -2 to that roll. But because you've got the climbing gear, you're +2, so therefore it makes it just a normal roll.
Okay.
Now remember also, every time you Mr. Pickles heard the bling bling as well.
I was about to say that was the train going past. If you had that,
No, it was almost as if an alert had gone off.
I didn't hear
That's what it sounded like.
still going past.
Yes, so remember that you climb up or down the number of meters per success that you get, and then what you do is that you have to make a reaction plus strength test to hold on before you can make your next climbing roll. And remember, anything greater than 3 meters, if you drop, that starts to do damage. Then anything above 3 meters, and it's literally up to a lot of P. But on this roll, I think it'll probably be up to sort of like I think it was 7p last time.
Yeah, it almost killed me last time.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what you need to get on to do. So climbing. Who's heading up first?
Studley's going to look at it and say, I don't think I can possibly make that climb by myself.
Bodhi's going to look at Billy Bob and say, any chance you could go up there first? I think I've broken a couple of ribs from when you dropped me last time. I'm not going to be able to make it up there on my own.
Yeah, Billy Bob's already started climbing. He got up 1 meter. Now I've got to do a strength.
Oh, sorry, yeah. You got to make a strength and reaction to hold on. So it's just like you must get 2 successes or more. Oh, no, sorry, you just need
What's
to
your
get
gymnastics? 13d6s.
Strength and reaction. Yeah.
No, strength and gymnastics. Sorry. Yeah. So what's your gymnastics?
Go on your gym. Go onto your physical skills.
Gymnastics is 6.
Go onto your physical skills, and underneath attribute, just change it to agility and put it down to strength.
It's on strength.
Okay, so just roll that. Just roll your gymnastic skill now, then. That's better.
Yeah, 3 successes. I don't know if so yeah, because you're rolling your strength and then you have -1 for your gymnastics because you're not skilled in it, But that's 3 meters. 3 meters up. So now make a reaction plus strength.
And that's still 13 dice.
Yes. Yeah. Now that's a glitch.
Wait, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
7.
Yeah. It's over half. Because 6 would be the thing, but it's not a critical glitch because you've got some successes. You've actually got 2 successes there. But what I'm going to say is that because it was a glitch, you do manage to hold on to the rope. But you actually almost like you've gone up 3 meters and you actually almost like slide down a bit before you get your feet round it to sort of like block it.
Yeah.
So you've only gone up 2.
So I've gone 2 meters.
Okay. So next, make your strength, your gymnastics roll again. 2. So therefore, you're 4 meters. So now make your reaction plus strength.
Normal roll 13.
Yeah, that was 7 successes. You're getting the hang of it now. You're clinging on well. Gymnastics roll now. Oh, 5 successes. You're up.
Yeah, easy.
No problem at all. So now you're up. So the question is now you can lower the rope and let somebody else can go next. Now remember what happens here, guys, is that if you Billy Bob will pull you the number of meters, but you have to hold on at each pull. And if you fail that holding on thing, then you fall. So it's a bit like, imagine that Billy Bob's pulled you up a bit, then stopped. And as it stopped, there's been a bit of a jerk, and you lose your grip on the rope, etc. So I'm just trying to find my.
Studley's going to turn to Bodhi and say, by all means, you go up next, and I can heal you
if you fall down at my feet.
I was about to say, can I go next? Get it over and done with.
Yes,
Yeah.
and but
Catch me if I fall, please.
once you're up, if you could possibly lend a hand in hauling me up, that would be
I will do my best, but
most appreciative.
I've got a few broken ribs, so won't be much help.
It's very easy to make excuses, and
But no, I'll help as much as I can.
Okay.
you do see me complaining. No.
Yes.
So first things first, gymnastic roll, Billy Bob, to start pulling up Bodhi.
Oh, I thought it was lift and carry. Oh, okay.
No.
Gymnastics again.
Right, then I've got to make a.
Not yet. You're fine at the moment.
4 successes.
Yeah. So you're up 4 meters. So now make your Bodhi. You need to make your reaction plus strength. And you just need a success.
Oh, do I have any modifiers for my
No.
my wound modifiers?
Yes, because
Because I'm on -1 mood. So that's 3 dice. So I need to reroll.
Even if you take one off, you still got 0 success.
you got 0 successes. So Billy Bob sort of like starts to pull Bodhi up, and there's a sudden pull of the rope, and Bodhi, you sort of like fail to grip onto it and drop.
My ribs.
4 meters. Right, just let me check.
Wasn't me.
I said, as you hear Bodhi falling his 4 meters, you hear him go, "I said gently, Billy Bob." Ow.
Billy Bob's going to suggest he ties the rope around him so he can just pull him up instead.
We've got to wait a moment. I might be dead, mate. So,
do your soak roll.
is there any armor pen?
You hear him saying, "I should have used an egg."
Is there any armor pen in Mills?
No. And
Okay.
you don't use any of your wound modifier for damage resistance. So
No.
it's just, 2 successes.
I'm gonna use edge on that.
Okay. So,
Alan, you're going to use edge to absorb.
Can I do that?
No, yeah, no. I mean, it's fine, but would
so
you not be better to use the edge to?
Probably, but I didn't think about it, and it had moved on by then.
So what are you're using edge to re-roll your fails?
If I can,
Yeah.
if I can do it on the damage one. So that's
13.
the right number of dice. Yeah, no, it's right.
Yeah, it'd be
dice.
13 because you've only got 2 successes. So.
Yeah, I was just checking.
So that's a total of
4.
4. And how far did you drop?
4 meters.
1 meter, isn't it? Because the 3 meters you can drop things. So yeah, 4 meters. So that's 4p that you would take, because you're falling 4 meters. And so yeah, so those resistance takes off the 4p. So you sort of like land back at the bottom, but at the last moment you sort of like grip onto the rope. So you land clumsily on the floor, but you're fine. You're not damaged at all. So and then you sort of like decide to tie the rope round you and try to put Billy Bob, you're going to pull him up.
Yeah.
So you're still doing climbing as you yank him up.
So I'm still doing the gymnast.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. But I haven't got to worry about him falling now, have I? Because he's strapped
No,
on.
unless you make a
Unless you let go of it completely.
Like you did last time.
So
Billy Bob's just going to let go of
he's 4 meters from the top now. So he's 2 meters up.
Gymnast.
Yeah. So he's 2 meters from the top now. So if he falls now.
Jeez, I've got to pull you all the way up.
There we go.
But he's just hanging there limp going, oh, my ribs.
And
Because
then,
No, you're not.
No,
You're
it's
going
fine.
down.
you're Billy Bob, you're pulling him up, and then you hear a noise behind you or something, and you accidentally leave go of the rope. And,
Go again!
And he falls 4 meters back down to the ground.
Oh, God.
Damage resistance roll. That's your damage
You hear
resistance.
a noise, he just let go.
6, yeah. So you land on the floor, but Billy Bob manages to grab the rope again just before you hit the floor. It sort of like prevents you impacting fully.
You just hear Bodhi saying, for Drek's sake, next time I'm going to put a bullet in your face if you do it again.
Next time I'll just let go of the rope.
Yeah.
Right, Billy Bob, off you go again to pull both
It's like
of you.
some kind of carnival ride. I don't like
What's
it.
going on? Studley's going to say, gentlemen, speed is of the essence.
Tell him that.
4, he's 2 meters up.
Well, if you knew how to climb, this would help a lot better.
Right, so
4 meters up.
he's
Here we
4.
go.
He's 4.
This is-
You're right, Billy Bob. It's the first thing I'm going to do in some off time is learn how to climb.
1 meter off.
5 meters up. This is.
Okay, this may hurt a bit.
Oh no, you are
So
safe.
Bodhi makes it to the top, so like heaves himself over the ledge and just lays there for a few moments and goes, land.
Okay, so you untied the rope.
He just starts stroking it next to his face. He's just like,
Studley,
ground.
Are you being pulled up?
Yes. So Studley's going to attach it round to his onto his harness,
Okay.
and then sort of like do a turtle impression.
Right. Is
and Bodhi's going to help. Yeah.
okay then. So
as much as he can.
Bodhi, roll your climbing, your gymnastics first.
Oh, my gymnastics first.
Yeah, make sure you.
Oh
swap
wait,
it to
no, I can't
to
help if I'm
strength.
rolling gymnastics.
It's strength plus gymnastics.
Yeah, I can't help. I'm rolling 1 dice, and I've got a -1 wound modifier, so I've got no dice to roll.
Oh, yeah, cool. You can't help. Billy Bob,
So in which case, he's just going to slump down on the side, holding his ribs.
What's your strength?
Strength 2.
2, yeah. So Bodhi can't help you, so Billy Bob, you're on your own. Pull away.
All this dead weight up here, you know.
And that, well, I was
They
going
only
to say
bring you
that.
along because you can lift heavy objects. 4 meters to go.
I would be helping you, but you've dropped me so many times.
Again, if you know how to climb.
3 meters to go.
You hear Studley go, big heave.
There you go.
Yeah, Studley cries out, big heave, and you just sort of go, yonk, like that, and Studley sort of like comes over the top, turtle-like, being pulled up by his waist, or almost, and you pull him up, and he's there ready to go. Yeah, so you untie yourself, Studley, and then you're ready to proceed. I'm not too sure who has the map, by the way, if you're indeed using a map or not. You don't have a map, but I don't know whether or not any of you were trying to draw or trying to track.
Billy Bob was. That's what Billy Bob was doing. He was tracking the.
What was the time at the one that we just gone down? Was it 21:03?
22.
It was 22:43.
Yeah.
And on this side of the chasm, you can see that there's the corridor carries on. The tunnel carries on for some distance. Are you just heading off? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
There's not an RFID tag on this side.
No.
Then yeah.
Okay, so you carry on, and you carry on along the corridor, and as previously mentioned, there's all this fungus, remember, that's growing on the walls and everything like that. And you get to the corridor after about 10-20 minutes walking. The corridor turns, the tunnel turns to your right. This is a really interesting turn because you figure it was once a T-junction, but the entrance to the left, it looks like it's collapsed and actually blocked it off. So if you look to your left, you can almost like see a pile of rubble, sort of like coming down on a diagonal angle, and you can see that there's fungus and lichen, etc., growing on that. So it doesn't look like it was anything recent. There is an RFID tag on here, and it's placed on the right wall, and it says 2358.
So it looks like we're still on the right track, and if Eliza was to be believed, then we're slowly gaining on them. We're only 3 hours behind them, or 3 hours behind when they were last seen.
I'm wondering whether or not this fungus has maybe affected Enrico's mind. If he's been down here for a long time, maybe prolonged. Yes.
Maybe, or perhaps it could have, because Eliza said he had a research lab, so perhaps it's one of his experiments, or been tainted by one of his experiments.
I think we should definitely
Don't touch it still. Got it.
I was going to actually say be prepared for anything.
Okay. At that, Bodhi will draw his pistol and reattach the silencer on his pistol. And he'll be holding that one-handed.
You unattach the silencer all this time?
Well, you can't have it. It makes it cumbersome to draw from a holster if you've got the silencer on the end and you've got the silencer sticking out the back of your holster. So,
Okay.
It's interesting that you put a silencer on and then you have a discussion about it.
No, this is done subvocally.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like I said, Studley says subvocally, so I don't know whether or not the others are, but Studley's talking.
Oh,
Sorry, I haven't announced it in a while.
Right.
Yeah.
So it is all your background chatter is actually subvocal then.
Subvocal, yeah.
To each other, yeah.
Was moving along.
Okay, then. So you start moving along the tunnel, and you notice that both the fungus and the water, any water in here, is becoming less and less and less. And you are going along, and I presume you've got your flashlights out, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And you sort of like move them around, etc., etc. And you can see up ahead, literally about 10 meters ahead of you, you can see that there's what appears to be a crossroads coming up. Could you all make perception rolls for me, please?
Booyakasha. 3.
3. You all get 3, yeah. Cool. Okay, so you reckon as you're walking along, you've got about 10 minutes before the crossroads. You stop, and Billy Bob sort of like holds his fist up to halt the party, because you all can hear talking up in the corridor ahead of you. It's definitely not in the corridor that goes straight on in the crossroads, because your torches showed that was
Clear.
empty, but it's either the left hand side or the right hand side is where the noise is coming from. And when I say a noise, it actually sounds like a conversation that is going on, and it seems to be, you're not too sure, but I'm going to give you 3 pieces of information. There seems to be definitely more than 2 people talking. That's the first thing. So the voices do change, and you figure there's at least 3, if not more. The second thing that you can tell is that the voices are quite gruff and broken. They're not sort of like I'm going to sort of like mimic what they're saying at the moment, but it doesn't sound like an intellectual conversation. It almost sounds as if it's quite Neanderthal, quite basic, rudimentary speech going on. And the third thing that you do notice is that it appears that they're talking about, well, I'll tell you what they say, and then you can gather what they're talking about. So you hear one of them say, "Oh, wish you got a leg. Legs are mine. You get a lot more for a leg. These piffling arms won't give us anything." And then somebody else says, "Well, they'll give us something. At least they've got all their fingers on. This one's lost a thumb, though. Yeah, but legs are miles more important. If you get legs, you can get real good credits for legs. You know, there's always a need for legs." Well, the other one says, "So what about heads? Do you get more money for a head?" And something else says, "No, a head? How stupid are you? You can't take a head to something. That's absolutely a waste of time." "Well, how many legs have we got then?" "Well, how many arms have we got then?" "Well, 3 that I could grab. I might go back and grab some more, but at least we've got 3. Okay, guys, what would you like to do?
Studley's going to turn off his flashlight and motion for the other 2 to do the same.
Yep.
So Birdie turns off the flashlight, and then over subvocals he says, "Are they talking about what I think they're talking about? And are those legs and arms? I'm guessing they're from the party that we're meant to be helping."
So you're now operating on low light. If you've got
is there any light from that we can see coming from any of the left or the right tunnels?
Yeah, so the reason you can operate on low light is that there is a faint glow coming from the fungus and the plant growth that is allowing you to use low light. But you're quite right to ask, because as you once your torches are off, there seems to be no other light shining in from either the left or right tunnel at all.
But is the light from the fungus good enough to see?
In low light, do you have low light?
I have it on my glasses. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's fine if you didn't have low light. You wouldn't be working in complete darkness, but you would just say have like a -2 to your rolls or something like that. You can still see, but not as well. But
okay.
Anybody
I
with low
want to be casting my clairvoyance spell.
Okay, cool.
But clairvoyance allows me to. It doesn't translate. It doesn't translate sound, but it translates vision. But it doesn't work with augmented vision. So with the lights off, would I be able to see enough?
Yeah, well, you would make a perception roll,
and it would be at -2.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so whilst I stood there, Studley's going to motion for people to stand still, and I'm going to cast my clairvoyance spell at force level 6. I'll have a -1 modifier, won't I, because of the background count?
Yes, you would. Four successes, yeah?
Yeah.
And whereabouts are you putting this?
So it's going to start off just ahead of me,
yeah,
and then I'm going to start moving it down towards the crossroads.
Okay. And then what are you doing with it?
When I get to the crossroads, could we tell approximately which side the voices were coming from?
No, if you remember, I said you.
Right. As I get closer to the crossroads, are they still talking, or have they stopped?
Make a perception roll. This will be a normal perception roll. It won't be -2 because you're just trying to listen for sound.
But using my clairvoyance one.
Yes.
Rather than my.
Yeah. So, I see what you mean. So. Yeah. So as you get to the crossroads, you can tell that it's down the left-hand crossroads. Right. Left-hand turn that there are some.
Well, I don't know. I can't make it with that because it doesn't transmit. Sound. It doesn't allow sound. It's picture. It's vision.
So when you get to the crossroads, you sort of, using your clairvoyance spell, you look down the right one, you look down the left one, and there's definitely 3 figures. At least 3 figures that, if I show you on this map, one sort of like here, one sort of like here, and one is like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these two at the back here, they've got their backs to you. And
which way have I come from? This one, this
exactly
way, yeah.
Where you're looking from,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So these two have got their backs to you, and they're all sort of like almost like crouched down, and they seem to be rummaging about in something, or there seem to be some kind of sacks or something like that, and they seem to be pulling things out. But the fungus is giving off some glow. You do notice that they're not they're not fully dressed.
Okay.
They look like they got like some kind of trousers on, but their top half seems to be naked. They're shirtless.
Okay.
The other thing that you do notice is that the way that they're hunched over, they look vaguely human. It's almost like they're humanoid.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So their spine is protruding a little bit more than it should do, and you think their heads are not quite the right size in comparison to their bodies. If you were seeing these now, you would say they're more humanoid rather than human.
Okay, are there any weapons on the ground, or are they carrying any weapons?
You can't see in the dark, in the fungal darkness. They have various bumps around their waist. You don't think there'll be anything on the ground because they're almost like they're in this almost like the remaining part of the water. So if they had any guns or anything, then they would be wet. But they might have some things in their belts. You're not too sure.
Okay. So closing his eyes, Studley's going to cancel the spell.
Yeah.
And over his subvocal microphone, he's going to say,
there seems to be 3 of them up to the corridor to the left. Vaguely humanoid. No visible armor on them.
Bodhi replies over subvocals, vaguely humanoid, so not human.
Well, no, they look humanoid. If I had to describe them, I would have said they were more like I don't suppose you play Dungeons and Dragons, do you?
No.
Ah, right. So you're not. Yes, it's probably hard to. What about a Nifando of old? No.
Nathaniel.
Okay.
No.
Well, let's just say that they're vaguely human, then, shall we, both?
Okay.
And, yeah. So they have 2 arms, 2 legs, a torso, and a head.
But not human. Okay. No, that's fine. I can.
And it looked like they had usable thumbs as well.
What about weapons?
I didn't see any. But you're quite welcome to go and have a look yourself if you think that you could maybe do a better job.
Billy Bob will go look. Billy Bob smash.
Oh.
They're talking about legs, Billy Bob, and selling arms and legs. I think if they see our arms and legs, they're going to want them.
They could try and take mine.
I think we need to be. I think we need to go now before they actually move off. Even if they are parts of the awaiting, then we're going to need to have those back.
Yeah.
But let's try to avoid a lot of noise.
Whoa.
And Studley wants to start casting a spell.
Just so you know, when you went round the corner, Studley, you figure that they're about 8 to 10 meters away. So just to give you an idea of how far that would be, if you guys, I know you're not there at the moment, but if you guys came on the map there, that's roughly, I think that's just about 8 meters. 10 meters to the final one, so that's roughly where they'd be at.
Okay, so before he goes in, Studley's going to start casting a spell. I'm going to cast increased reflexes on myself at force level 3, and I'm going to I'll have a -1 situation modifier, won't I, because of that. I'm going to raise the limit. He reaches into his coat and he takes out 6 pieces of cinnabar, which he crushes, setting the limit to 6.
Okay then.
So I'm raising the limit by 3 up to 6.
Magic plus spell casting then. So that's 6 successes. So that add +1 to +1 +6, and then is it per every 2 hits? Plus 3 more d6s, won't it?
Yeah, so +6, and that's going to put me up to +4 d6.
4 d6s. Okay.
And that's being sustained by his. Will his concentration thing work? What will work because of the, and will either of them be able to sustain the spell?
No, because it can only sustain force 2 spells now. Because everything is reduced by 1.
Right. Okay. In which case, I'll cast exactly the same thing, but at force 2.
Okay. Cool. So therefore, hang on. We can use that roll. The only thing that you need to do is mark off 1 more set of reagents, because that'll be 1 set, won't it? Your dice roll won't actually make any difference. What's the power drain? Oh, the drain you resisted in any case, didn't you? Because it's incoming 3 drain. Is the drain code the force of the spell?
I'll just roll it again.
Well, no. Well, that one's absolutely fine, because the force of the spell is 3. You got 6 drains to resist. So even if that goes down to 2, you still resisted it. So you will have +6 to your initiative, and then plus 3d6s. So it'll be something. What's your normal initiative bonus?
1d6.
No, for your actual what you add on.
6 plus 1d6. So I'm now rolling 12 plus 4d6.
Plus 4d6s. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else that anybody else would like to do at this moment?
Billy Bob's gonna ask. Obviously, subvocally, he's gonna say, "You want me to go and finish the job and take the limbs back?"
Ideally, we need to question one of them to find out where they actually got these from. So if we can, we need to keep one minimum alive.
I can do that.
In Wills. If I was to do a matrix perception, would that work? Because there's no matrix down here.
You don't know though, because you haven't been checking.
Do you wish to do a matrix perception?
Well, the idea was to do a matrix perception to see if I could see if any other matrix signals or weapons running in the area.
Okay, so is that an idea, or is that what you would like to do?
I'll try and do that.
Okay, so roll your matrix perception. I presume you're looking in AR for this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Running silent. One success.
Yes. So with that success, you discover. Do you want to use that to know whether or not there's anything running silently? Because remember, with your matrix perception, you get access to almost like questions. So you have one question, but say, for example, you could use that to say, I want to know whether or not anything's running silently, or I can tell you now, just with that one success, you haven't used it, the one success, is that there's 3 communicators are operational. They got the default icon, which for all communication, comlinks are like a little walkie-talkie with flashing lights on. So you have one question, so you can ask things like, are there anything running? Is there anything running silent? And then you would make another perception check to see whether or not anything's running silent. Or you can ask for the device rating of the comlinks or anything else that you feel.
I think Bodhi will want to know if there's anything running silent, because he's seeing 3 comlinks, so he's probably making a guess that if there are comlinks, they're probably from the expedition, so there's probably going to be weapons running silent in the area.
So roll your matrix perception.
Do I have a minus?
No, you'll have your normal -2, then your wound penalty on top of that, so you'll have -3 to it.
-2. One success again.
No, you've got -2 for running silently.
Yeah.
Your wound penalty. So that's -3 altogether, isn't it?
So I've taken the -2 for
modifier of
repeating.
-2.
I've done the -2 for repeating the thing, and then of the win penalty is automatically added on anyway.
Right, I think repeating a thing, isn't that -1?
Oh, so I thought that's what you meant by the sign, the -2.
No, I was just saying you've got -2. Just roll 2 more dice. I just need to see whether or not you just roll them. You won't glitch there. Okay, so 2 successes. Right, you cannot see anything in this general area. So that's up to 100 meters. Wherever you look, there is nothing running silently within 100 meters.
Okay, so Bodhi, you see Bodhi sort of like flick his eyes behind, and that's him looking into AR, and you see him looking around like this, and then he comes back and says, "I can see 3 comlinks, but there's nothing else that I could see at the moment. I did check for silent items, but I couldn't see anything." Oh, he says that over sub-vocals.
Right, excellent.
Billy Bob, go to work now.
Okay, so what's the plan then?
So the plan is to cautiously go up to the corner.
Yeah.
And then go round the corner. Each of us doing the stuff that we need to do to take out one.
Oh,
quietly.
That's all right. You're going to roll initiative in any case. So. Okay, so roll initiatives. So is it? I'm not taking that. This is initiative rolls at the moment. What I'm just
27.
Yeah,
he's rolling however many extra dice he did his spell to make him go faster.
Oh,
what do you get on your D6s?
I didn't do very well actually. I got
8.
Yeah. No,
that's wrong. It can't possibly be right.
I had 12 plus 4 D6s I had.
2, 30.
12 plus 4 D6s, and you got 11. It can't be right, because if you've got 12 to start off with,
You got 27.
oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. Oh, yeah, sorry, I was looking at Bodhi. Sorry. Yeah, so your 4 D6s got 5, 1, 6, and 4. That's right. Yeah, it's rolled correctly. Yeah.
But it's taken on my wound penalty.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
That is right. Okay, so we're not. I just need to know what you guys are doing. So we can decide who's going round first, etc. So, yeah, tell me how you're addressing this problem.
Well, if Bodhi says over some vocals, I assume Billy Bob, you're going to be using your hand blade.
If permission is granted.
Probably. Yeah, why not? And then if Studley can you try and stun one?
Don't worry about me. I'm quite adept.
I think it's better if people say what.
Okay, so when it comes down to it,
Studley's
going to come around the corner, keeping close to the left-hand wall. He's going to take aim on the
right. Hang on. That all
see.
I need to know is that you're going to come around the wall and do something.
Yeah,
that's fine. So Billy Bob and Bodhi, what are your plans for action?
Bodhi will probably wait for Billy Bob to go around first, then he'll go round the wall at Studley and Billy Bob, so he'll be the furthest one on the end, and then we'll shoot at whatever's left.
Okay, so you're going to be behind Billy Bob and Studley. So Billy Bob, what about you?
Yeah, so he's Billy Bob's going to go around the corner, and he's leading the way basically.
Yeah, cool.
Are you charging up to them then, Billy Bob? Or are you just going to go around the corner?
How far is it away? He's 10.
It's going to be 10 meters.
Yeah, so I can make the furthest one easy. Yeah, he's gonna charge at him.
So you, Billy Bob's coming round and then charging straight in. Studley, you're coming round and doing a spell of some description, and Bodhi, you're coming round to shoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then.
Billy Bob's gonna like try and plow through these two and head for the furthest one.
Okay. So yeah. So what we'll do is that we'll move you around the corner, and then we'll go into action initiative round. Okay. So you come round the corner with, I presume you've you got torches on now, yeah, or are you keeping your torches off?
We'll come up to the corner, and as we come round, we'll turn them on.
Okay.
Or Studley, at least Studley will turn his on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bodhi will do exactly the same, hoping that's going to dazzle them a little bit.
Yeah. So you come charging around the corner, and Studley, you shine your torch down towards them, and you suddenly see that they're not there anymore. They are approximately 6 to 10 meters further down the corridor. They seem to have sacks over their backs, and they seem to be walking away quite naturally. So yeah, Studley, you're up first. What would you like to do?
Studley's going to cast his spell at the farthest one.
Okay then. So if you add 6 meters to 10 meters to anything that you're
as long as if I can see them, I can cast.
You can see them. So so he would be 9, so he's like 15 meters away. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a cloud spell coming up at force 6.
Nice. Four successes. Yeah, I get a reaction, don't I?
Yeah, I didn't resist any drain though.
I get 2 successes on my dodge, so that's 2 net successes you get.
Okay, so you're looking at 8 stun.
He gets 1 success
with a -6 AP.
5. Oh, he can't get any successes. So,
okay, so you took 8 stun, and I want to use a point of edge to resist my drain.
Okay then. So you're rolling your misses.
Yeah, so that's what 11. All of them missed.
Yeah, every single one of them. So that would be your willpower plus logic, isn't it? Does that add up to 11?
Willpower and logic is 11. Yeah.
And remember, you'll have -1 for your wound.
Oh, it didn't do -1 for my wound on that.
Oh right, I thought it. I must have just done it for spell cast.
No, I don't think it classes
okay,
for.
So that's 4 successes altogether, which means that knock off your edge, and you resist the drain on that. So yeah, so you bash your clout spell out at the lead humanoid, and it's all like he's all like goes on. How many? What was your damage altogether?
It was 8. Is it enough to?
Yeah, that overcomes the guy's physical limit, and he suddenly goes face down onto the ground. The other 2 sort of like look round at that point. Billy Bob, you're up.
Okay, so seeing that the first one fell face first, he's going to turn his attention to the one on the left. So this one here.
Okay, cool.
And so they're 20 meters away.
Yes.
So I can make that running.
Is that running? Also?
Yeah, that's running.
Yeah. Okay then. So you set off as a charge, and you run down to let's run you down to that one. Yeah. And what would you like to do?
He's gonna like stab him in the head.
Is running a simple action?
I don't know.
Isn't it? That's all he can do for if you're running. That's all you can do for all your initiative passes.
Free action is run. Run's a free action.
Oh yeah, so that's fine then. So you'll still have a complex action ready. Yeah, you can't. He can't do any more. Oh no, but he's running, isn't he?
Yeah.
So therefore, it engages the modifier.
That's sprinting.
That's sprinting. Yeah.
2 per net.
No, what I'm saying is there's something that if you're running, it might be me that gets it.
I know there's something in Mithras, but
Defender is running. It gets +2. Roll you to hit in any case.
Right. Okay. So handblade. 5 successes.
Was your handblade already out?
Is that a complex action?
No, it's a free action, but you've had 2 free actions so far.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. So he would have done that when he got to him. He would have.
Right. So therefore, you can't actually attack.
Okay.
Because that free action would take up a simple action, which you.
Okay.
I should
have extended the hand blade before I came around.
Okay then. So that's Billy Bob. You're there in front of this guy, and Bodhi, you're up.
So Bodhi's going to use free action to run his 8 meters.
Okay. Cool.
So I'll move myself about halfway.
They're 20, by the way. So
so I'm shooting at 12 meters. That's the idea. So then he's going to use a simple action to aim.
Okay.
And then he's going to use his other simple action to fire his pistol, which has a silencer on it. So I don't have the -1 for the range modifier.
How is it? 12 meters now.
It's 12 meters, so that would normally be a -1, but I'm aiming, so that would be a +1.
Oh, this is going to be loud.
He's got his.
I've got a silencer on, so it's going to go.
Yeah. Roll away.
3 successes.
Yeah. Hang on. Let me just do my dodge. 4 successes. You've missed. So you fire off your pistol, and these 2 now are looking round at you. I'll put their initiative on now. Sorry. So this one next to you, Billy Bob, draws his weapon. He drops his sack, which is a simple action, a free action. Sorry, and then he draws his pistol and he fires it at you.
Okay. Do I get a dodge?
Yeah, you just get what you normally get. So dodge first.
1 success.
Yeah, I got 1 success as well. So it just grazes off you. The one at the back, Studley, gets up onto his feet. He looks quite dazed. He seems to take his whole action to do that. And then this one, Bodhi, draws his pistol and fires back at you. So you have your dodge first. 2 successes.
2 successes.
Yeah, so it grazes off your armor as it goes there. Okay, adjust your initiatives, guys. I've got no more. Thing. Oh, the one at the back uses a free action, by the way, just before you all change, because he's got no more actions this round. He's got a free action, and he sort of like looks around and he goes, what the hell? What the frag is happening here? You know, Studley, you're up.
So Studley is once again going to cast his clout spell at the back one.
That's a better drain resist.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah, so I get a dodge, don't I?
You do indeed.
Yep. He gets 2 successes, so 1 net success for you.
Okay, is that taken into account his wound penalty as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so -6 AP.
Oh yes,
on your.
he can't resist.
Okay, so you're 7 stun.
Yeah, and so he's dead.
Oh,
He's unconscious. Yeah.
No, because they only have 10 boxes. Remember, I've said this before. Anybody that you're fighting against now, and it's been like this for weeks, they only have 10 boxes, and then that's it. Once those 10 boxes are gone, unless for example, I think Billy Bob, you did it one week. You wanted to apply non-lethal damage, and you took a -4 to your.
Is that not what stun is?
At a cool shot.
Yeah, correct. Say again, sorry, Studley.
Is that not what stun damage is then?
Yeah, okay then. But what we've been playing for several weeks is that all monsters, instead of having 2 trackers, they only have 1.
Right.
Okay, so if you had said to me, I want to do clout, but I want to do it in such a way that it doesn't knock them out, it doesn't kill them, then you would have -4 to your roll to call the shot, because you would be applying non-lethal damage.
Right.
Okay. So that's Studley on 17. Billy Bob, you're on 7. Your hand blade is out. You're ready to do a complex action.
okay. So Billy Bob's gonna thrust his hand blade into
Cool.
Gould's face.
I get 2 successes on the dodge. If you.
I got 6 successes.
So that's 4 net. What's your -2? Is it 4? I get 1 success. So what do you get? 4. Yeah. So you whack it into this guy, and he also falls down dead.
Okay. Billy Bob's gonna use a free action to say, "Hold your fire."
No, you. Is it 1 free action per initiative pass? Yeah, so you can say hold your fire. Excellent. So, Bodhi, you're up.
Okay, let's change. Hang on, for a second. I just want to see what it is to change. Okay, so Bodhi wants to change his clip. So I think that's 2 simple actions. To take a clip out and to remove a clip is a simple action, and then he wants to put his gel rounds in his gel round clip. So he wants to change ammo basically.
So so Bodhi starts to change ammunition in his gun. I'm up. So this guy takes another shot at you, Bodhi. So your dodge comes up first. I get 1 success. Yeah, and it's sort of like as you're sort of like changing your magazines around, there's another hit that glances off your armor, and Studley, you're the only person who can now operate finally on 7.
Okay. Whenever I cast clout, I want to be doing it as a non-lethal spell.
Yeah, just declare it at the beginning.
Yeah.
So are you casting it again now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
as
so non-lethal. So it'd be -4 to your spell casting, not to your drain.
Right. So a situation modifier then.
Yeah. Which one? So are you just firing at the one that's still up? I assume.
This one.
He gets no successes at all.
Okay, so you're taking.
Well, there's no point. Yeah, there's no point him doing. You just tell me.
So 9
boxes.
points of stun.
Yeah, so that'll take him down to 1 box left. Excellent, and that's the end of that that round. Brilliant. So if I just I'll just take you off the order. So now can you roll your initiative again?
Oh, he's still up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I need one more point.
Okay.
Sorry. I was on the wrong page.
Good grief, how can I get lower? I've gone from 9, which is my maximum, to 4. Which is actually the smallest I can do. Right. Yeah. So this is the next the next turn. So first initiative pass. Studley, you're up first.
Yeah, same spell again on it.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, does roll it because
yeah, because I mean it's I might not even do it with the -5.
Yeah. So he's now unconscious. He's not dead. He's actually unconscious because I've got -3 to my rolls, so there's no way I can actually get rid of the damage because you're going to. What's your damage for 2 net hits, or what's your
8.
damage for 1 net hit?
My base damage is 6. Modified by any.
Yeah, so that's fine. Yeah, so you cast a clout again at this one, and that one knocks the guy out. Yeah, Billy Bob. There, 2 of them are dead, and 1 of them is knocked out. So we'll go out of combat rounds now. Yeah. So what do people wish to do?
Billy Bob's gonna drag. Oh, he's gonna take all the weapons and throw him down the. He's going to throw him down this way.
Yeah, down towards Bodhi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
He's also going to drag the unconscious one and like sit him up against the wall.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. Bodhi's going to move up warily.
Do you want him down here or up by you?
Yeah, down there is fine.
Okay. You'll probably be down there with him.
Yeah.
I'll leave those other 2 on. Yeah, cool.
And then Bodhi's going to reach around to the side pocket of his backpack, and he's going to get I can't remember what it's called now. Stim patch.
Stim patch.
Stim patch. He's going to get that out and say, "Let me know when you're ready for this."
Yeah, hang on. Just to let you know, attacker running is -2 to the dice roll. It's on page 176. That's what I was looking for. So
I didn't get an attack anyway, so
yeah. So if anybody runs, that's the disadvantage of it. It's still a free action, but you have -2 to your roll because you're.
I remember you saying that before. Actually, now you said that.
Yeah, and just to let you know, also if an attacker is in melee combat with a pistol, i.e. they're trying to fire a weapon in melee combat, then it's -3 to the roll. Okay, just to avoid people just things. So remember that. So if somebody had a pistol and you actually ran up to them to start hitting them with a sword, you're actually got the advantage because the attacker's now going to have -3 to hit you. Yeah. Okay then. So yeah. So this humanoid thing. You Billy Bob have seen these creatures before. Studley, what's your? Do you have something in paracritic?
I have parazoology. And
yeah. So you both of you. Billy Bob, you've encountered these before. You encountered them in a warehouse, and Studley, you will have seen them before. They're actually they're ghouls. So there are actually humans which are infected by a virus, and that causes them to be like this. So that ghouls are not necessarily all evil. Hence the guy turning around and saying, "What the frag?" Things. They do seem to have. They do seem to be carrying bags, and the bags tend to be full of various limbs. You figure that they're on a like a body trading sort of like gang. So they're probably trading in body parts, or they might be smuggling or something like that.
Studley wants to come down and he wants to have a look at one of these bags that have been dropped.
Yeah, they just seem to be like carry-all bags, if that makes sense, and it just seems to be filled with arms. Some of them are just some of the arms have got no hands on. Some of them are from the elbow to the end of the fingers. Some of them are just hands in. They all look like they've been probably chopped off rather than surgically removed.
Okay, Billy Bob's gonna he's gonna zip tie. He's gonna go in his bag and pull out some zip ties, and he's gonna zip tie the dude's hands behind his back and his feet together.
Yeah, cool.
I think it's probably the opposite direction that we want to be heading in, away from these gentlemen.
Yeah, I thought you wanted to talk to them.
To be honest with you, I think seeing there was several gunshots in the corridor, I think it's probably best if we make
Okay.
much speed as we can now. Anybody else would have probably heard those as well. They're obviously, I've deducted that they're obviously not going to be going back to where they got the body parts from originally. And
Okay.
it would also be very difficult for us to ascertain which body parts they were actually talking about when we questioned them about them.
So Billy Bob's gonna he's gonna turn around and he's gonna say, "You want me to bring him with?"
He'll be unconscious for a while yet. I would just take off the zip ties, and I'm sure he'll go on his merry way.
I was thinking maybe we can question him when he comes round.
Yes, by all means.
Bodhi's going to put the stim patch back in its pocket, in its pouch, on his backpack, and he's going to say, "So, ready to move when you guys are."
Okay.
I think Mr. Bob wants to question the.
No, he's happy to pick him up, fling him over his shoulder, and walk down the other way towards where maybe expected bodies are.
Say again, sorry.
Are you bringing him with us, Mr. Bob?
Yes.
Oh, excellent.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so make me a lift and carry roll.
He's zip tied. He ain't gonna do much.
No, I was more concerned about what you would be doing carrying a ghoul.
Yeah, so you sort of like lift him up and fling him over your shoulder. You're going to have to use one hand constantly to keep him there, and it is probably over left or right shoulder. It's up to you which one. But that your first to actually drop him, if need be, would be a free action.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and yeah. So this I'll take him off. I won't leave him on, but I know that you're actually carrying a ghoul with you. Yeah. So what do you plan doing now?
So the plan is to go back to the T junction, and then head straight across.
Yeah.
So we will be heading right.
Yeah. Cool. I just need to.
Don't forget your friend.
I can't carry him.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll pretend that he's on. So remember, it's body plus willpower for him to gain consciousness, and the
it's just before we go into the end encounter. That's when he's going to be "Oi, what are you doing?"
He's going to make merry hell and then probably bite Billy Bob as well.
Yeah. So he's not fully rested because he's banging along on Billy Bob's shoulder. When he does eventually come round, he'll come round with one box. That'll bring him conscious. You know,
I've got my armored jacket and helmet on anyway, so it does.
So yeah, okay then. So cool. So if you, I'll just leave him there. So if I'm going to pull you back down here. So imagine that you're going along the corridor now. So I know that you've got a ghoul with you, so I'll just take him off at that point. And this will replace him with a red dot on you. So
thank you for being my friend.
Yeah. So you're coming in. You're walking in this direction now.
Okay. Is this direction? Is there any fungus on the walls?
Yeah. If anything, as you walk down this corridor, it's getting more and more. Like a more it's almost like horticultural now. There's so much coming fungus growing around. It's almost like started to encroach down onto the actual tunnel, and you as you sort of like get closer, you suddenly spy up ahead. It's actually at this place here. You're actually walking along, and you notice that the corridor ends in a door. Now, when I say a door, it looks like metal has been used to block off the whole of the archway of the tunnel, and then in that is a door. It looks like it's got rivets in it, and the whole structure roundabout looks from the distance you're at looks quite strong. It doesn't look like it's just like a piece of corrugated sheeting put against the tunnel. It looks like it's been there for a huge amount of time. Could you all just make for me, please, perception rolls? It's not to see whether or not, it's whether or not you get a little bit more information about something.
2.
Billy Bob glitched.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, it's because you're carrying a ghoul.
Yeah. Yeah, because the smell from this ghoul is quite potent. Right. Bodhi and Studley, you notice two things. Number one, as you approach the door, it looks like it's got one of those viewing hatches up at the top. Does that make sense? If there's something you'd open. The other thing that you notice is that the fungus and the plants are actually attached to the door, to the metal around the tunnel. So that gives you an indication about how long it's actually been here. It's not as if it was just made up, 2 days ago.
It's been here some time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since leaving, since coming up this other part of the tunnel, do you know when we left the shaman?
Yeah. After the abyss drop.
Yeah. Have we noticed any signs of automatic fire?
No. It's a good question. You haven't noticed anything. And the other thing, just to bring to your attention, you also haven't noticed any RFID tags.
Didn't you say the last one that we seen was on the left-hand side? No, sorry. It was across the other side of the tunnel. The whole, sorry.
Yeah, that was the last one you saw as you came across the abyss.
Studley's going to cautiously approach this door at the end of it. Is there any type of lock on it on this side?
No, it seems to be. From what you can see, it just seems to have one of those handles that you push down and open. There's no madlock or anything like that. It just seems to literally be a push down and open handle.
Sorry, are we still in the sewers, or are we in the like underground?
Sewers.
Right.
We've gone back we went from the sewers into the subway where we met Eliza, and now we've gone back up into the sewers again.
Right, cool.
Bodhi wants to do a matrix perception. He's looking for anything running silent.
Yeah. Okay.
He's looking for mainly like booby traps or something like that.
Well, you would find booby traps that way if they were connected to the matrix. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's looking for electronic style.
So roll your perception.
Detonators and that sort of thing.
Don't forget your minus.
So the only device apart from anything that's not there's nothing running silently up to the door. There's nothing on the door running silently, and you also notice that there's still the comm link on the ghoul. And you also notice that beyond the door on the matrix, there is some kind of something emitting a radio signal. But interestingly enough, the door itself actually appears on the matrix. So does the surrounding metal. It's almost as if it's stopping electronic signals, and there seems to be some kind of building beyond the door. It seems to be very long and thin, and it all seems to be blocking matrix signals going into it. A bit like a Faraday cage would work. It's almost like jamming information getting in. And Billy Bob, can you just make a perception roll for me, please?
Certainly, sir.
Yeah, you hear a voice, and it's going, Dave.
Is it coming from the door, Dave, or behind us?
No, it's coming from the comm unit.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, so Billy Bob's going to say so vocally, this one's talking.
Bodhi says, "Oh yeah, it's probably the comlinks that I said that were around where they were."
Dave.
Dave. I think we should probably answer.
Come in,
Billy Bob.
Come in, Dave.
I'm not Dave.
Have you got the arms, Dave? Hello? Don't mess me about, Dave. You're in enough trouble as it is. Get those arms back to us now. We got a buyer for them.
Buying arms.
Is the hatch on this, or is the pulley bit for the hatch on our side, or is it on the other side?
No, it looks like it's a two-way door. So it looks like there is a way to open it to gain access.
You were saying that there was like a little hatch on it, though?
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. It's flat at your end.
Right, flat on our end.
Yeah,
right.
Sorry. Yeah, so somebody would open it from the inside and look out. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Bodhi's also going to relay the information that he's seen about the Matrix, so that the door says the whole thing seems that the whole area, there's some sort of radio signal around. The whole thing is appearing on the Matrix, but it seems to be acting like a signal jammer. But the entire thing is.
Maybe it's Dave's friend.
Could be.
Very, very interesting.
Studley's going to open the door.
Okay, so you pull the handle down and you open the door, and as you open it, it looks like it opens out into a small chamber ahead of you. It's wider than the tunnel you're in, and it's almost like egg shape, if that, it's sort of like curved round the end. And at the end of the chamber, you can see another door. The chamber itself is about 4 meters wide and about 8 meters long. So between you and the other side is about 8 meters. Can you make for me a perception check?
That everyone or
No, just
Can I ask a couple of questions as well?
yeah. Well, tell me what your questions are first.
Is there any of this fungus gone through the door into the corridor behind? And is the door at the other end identical to the door at this end?
It looks like it. Although you're not too sure whether or not it has the flap on it from this distance. It's 8 meters away. Maybe getting a little bit closer. The one thing that you do notice, by the way, with your 2 successes, I've got something else to describe before you go any further. You do notice that over the walls and in parts of the floor, there is what appears to be scorch marks on the wall. Now, the other thing that I need to tell you about this chamber is that there is a neatly made bed in here on one side of the wall, and on the opposite side of the wall there's a bath, a toilet and a basin.
Does it look very clean?
It looks immaculately clean. The bed is made. The sink and the toilet and the basin are all lovely and clean. But there is the door at the other end.
So it looks lived in.
Yeah, from what Studley's relaying back to you, yeah.
And you say that the scorch marks, do they look random, or are they sort of like at intervals going down the wall?
They're just random around the chamber.
Okay. Nothing that Studley's ever experienced.
They're scorch marks.
Right. Okay.
You've probably seen scorch marks before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Only in his pants.
But right. Yeah. Okay. Right. He'll go in.
Okay then.
Bodhi will, hearing all of this, will follow.
Yeah.
Right behind his story, his pistol out.
Billy Bob's going to do the same.
Okay then. So you're all in this room.
With a ghoul on my back. Well,
yeah, you are. There's 2 of you.
Yeah.
And
Go in, Dave. Here you go, Dave.
Yeah.
He's still talking.
So Studley's going to make his way. Is there any? There's no closets or anything in here.
It's literally just a bed on one side of the wall. That's to your left as you go in, and then to the right there's a bath, a basin, and a toilet. And that's
What's the Studley wants to sense the room.
Now that you're in the room, you can tell that the other door does not have that little flippy thing on. So
Right.
It just looks like a normal door.
Okay, and
so you wanted to sense, yeah?
yeah. Well, now he's in the room. He wants to sense. He wants to primarily. He's looking to see whether or not the background count has gone, or whether or not it's anything less than what it was.
Yeah. So yeah,
I've taken a modifier for the background count.
Correct, and you need to because it is still there, and there's no other. There seems to be pulses of emotion in this place, and it's quite lingering. You don't think it's the same astral signal, but there is signs of quite an emotional state in this room. Maybe fear, panic, dread, things like that.
Well, I mean, from your description, sort of like Studley thinks it very sort of like almost like a clinical room.
Yeah, it could look like a hospital room, but it looks a little bit more. It looks neat and tidy, but not clinical. It doesn't look like a hospital room. It does look like it's lived in, but it almost like looks as if it's an underground shelter, maybe.
Billy Bob's going to turn around and say, "Didn't that Enrico live down this way somewhere?"
I think he did, and didn't Eliza said he had a research lab. Perhaps this is part of that.
Yeah. I mean, he was trying to find a cure, like a cure for himself, I would have probably said. So this might have been the room he was in. Very strange indeed, though. Studley's going to make his way round the edge of the room, and he's going to head to the other door.
Yeah, there's a door straight in front of you. It looks a common or garden door. The only difference to it, it's not made out of wood. It's actually made out of metal. But the whole of this place is made out of metal. It's not made out of wood. It's almost like an Anderson's shelter or something like that underground. It's almost as if it's a series of pods that's been put together underground.
Okay, but there's no hatch on this one.
No, and the door. You do notice that the door opens inwards into the room.
Okay, so Studley wants to listen before he goes through.
Yes, make a perception roll. Yeah, you don't hear anything. There seems to be nothing there.
Okay, as quiet as you can, he's going to open the door and go through.
Yeah, so you open the door and there's literally like a small sort of like 3-5 meter corridor to the next door at the other end.
How
and could you make for me please a dodge roll for me please?
Don't even know where that is on my character.
It's just like a weapon one.
Like a defense one, isn't it?
Yeah, the first one. Yeah, not the soak. Two successes. So as you step into the corridor, you suddenly notice that the floor almost like gives way. It's almost like a trap, and it as sure as you step on it, you suddenly start to plummet. But as you go down, you manage to, with your two successes, grab hold of the edge of the corridor bit that you've just come down, and you sort of like look down. And you're hanging on to this. It looks like it's about a 10-meter drop. And the other thing that you can notice is that down there appears to be some kind of metal spikes. And do you have thermographic? You have low light, don't you?
I have low light and I have thermographic.
Yeah. So as you go look down low light, you notice that there is definitely a body down there that's impaled on some of the spikes. Okay, it looks the way it's dressed like it's one of the expedition members. And could you just roll a quick perception roll for me, please? Yeah, and you're not too sure, but through the other door, you know, the door that you're leading to, not the door that you come through, the one, you definitely hear the sound of a faint growl. It's very low, it's very guttural, and it just sort of like goes.
Okay, as Studley sort of like dangling there.
We'll leave Studley dangling there, because I think that would be a suitable place to stop this week's escapade in tunnel trouble. So yeah, well done. Lots of stuff done. You managed to sort out a physical an earth elemental, or spirit should I say. You managed to climb up to safety up the abyss. You have stumbled across some ghouls, maybe doing some body trafficking, and after killing 2 of them, you've now got an unconscious one that Billy Bob's sort of like carrying around, almost like a mascot, it seems.
He's my friend.
Yeah, and you've also found, you know that there's somebody up here called Enrico. You found a weird pod-like structure, and that seems to be lived in, but also heavily trapped, as Studley dangles with his fingertips over a 10-meter long fall to spikes below, where you can definitely see one of the previous expedition down there. So next week we will see what happens when you return and venture further out. Great questions to answer. Will Studley get out? And will Billy Bob lose his mascot, or will he keep it forever? And will Bodie decide which magazines he wants in his gun, whether or not he's going to be gel rounds or normal rounds? Excellent. So we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much for coming along and watching us tonight. If you have enjoyed tonight's Shadowrun, then please hit that follow button. We play every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock BST, which is 1 hour plus from Greenwich Mean Time GMT. And please also remember that we will be back with some more role play on Thursday, when Longshanks EPG and Mr. Pickles will be continuing their adventures in Victorian London 1888, when you'll be experiencing further impalement.
Oh, please no.
Yeah, because that one ended with somebody being impaled on the fence, didn't it?
I might have to rename Inwills to Inwills the Impaler.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. And then on Saturday at 7 o'clock, we'll be back again for the next thrilling episode of Mithras, which is a fantasy RPG setting based on a percentile dice. A bit like Dungeons and Dragons, but a better rule set. Okay, so a more intricate rule set, but a more lethal rule set. So you've got all those to look forward to if you're an RPGer. If not, then I will be streaming some more Elder Scrolls Online throughout the week. Thursday, the Mayhem event starts, so everybody's going to be out doing Battlegrounds and World versus World to get that event and get the final laurel leaf crown. So I will definitely be on first thing on Saturday morning, once it's Thursday morning before it's patched, while it's patching, or even straight after. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed tonight's thrilling excitement and adventure in Shadowrun. We will be back, but I would just like to leave you all with my mantra of please remember to say who you are and say what you feel, because the people who mind don't matter, and the people who matter don't mind. Have fun, and we will catch you all later. And until then, consider yourself well and truly waffled. Have fun, guys. Bye.